Hey there, you ready to like really deep dive into this whole world of quantity surveying?
Yeah.
Get you prepped for this interview.
Yeah, let's do it.
I am pumped to unpack not just like how to ace those questions, but like what makes this career tick, you know?
Totally. And you've given me some awesome resources to work with here.
Yeah?
We've got the career guide, we've got some sample interview questions, even some cool stuff about RoleCatcher's AI.
So cool.
Let's break it down.
Okay, so should we start with that first question from the interview guide? What inspired you to pursue a career as a quantity surveyor? It seems almost deceptively simple.
Right. It's like they always start with that one.
Yeah.
It feels basic, but it's your chance to stand out because most people jump right into like, oh, here are my qualifications.
Totally.
But this is about passion. This field is more than numbers.
Hmm.
It's about taking those blueprints and turning them into real buildings. It's about balancing budgets and deadlines and making sure everything meets those high standards, you know?
Absolutely. And making sure that vision comes to life.
Exactly.
On time and on budget.
Yes. So think about what excites you about this career path. What gets you fired up? Is it the problem-solving aspect? Is it seeing a structure go from zero to skyscraper? Or is it more about that puzzle of optimizing resources like you were talking about?
It's so true. It's like this weird mix of creativity and like hardcore analytical skills.
It is.
Which I find so fascinating.
You've got to have both.
You need both.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of showcasing those skills, the career guide mentions how this field is super competitive.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it talks about the pressure involved, like high levels of responsibility. How do you convey you can handle that heat? Especially when they hit you with a question like, can you describe a time you had to manage multiple projects simultaneously? Like, how do you even begin to answer that?
That's where you got to get specific. Don't just list out projects. Think of a time you were juggling and something went sideways. Maybe a deadline clashed with a materials delay. How did you prioritize? Did you have to get creative with the schedule or resources? Tell that story.
Ooh, I like that. Paint them a picture.
Yes. Show them you can handle the pressure cooker.
Okay, now, on to everyone's favorite topic, money.
The heart of the matter, right?
Question 3 is all about it. How do you ensure project costs are kept within budget? And I'm seeing cost control, value engineering, all these terms all over these resources.
Right. And it's not just about staying within budget. It's about doing it proactively. That's where value engineering comes in. Can you find a more cost-effective material without sacrificing quality? Did you ever streamline a process to save on labor? That's what they want to hear.
It's like being a detective for savings.
Exactly. You're sniffing out those cost overruns before they happen.
That actually reminds me of how RoleCatcher's AI can help tailor your answers.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
So it can actually give you feedback on your answers and point out places where you could weave in those impressive cost-saving strategies you've used.
That's amazing. Like having a personalized coach.
Right. Now, question 5 in the guide gets into the legal stuff.
Ooh, yeah, contract.
Yeah. Can you explain your experience with construction contracts and legal frameworks? I'm not going to lie, that's where I need a little refresher.
Right. Contract language can be a bit much.
A little bit.
But it's not about knowing every single legal term. It's about showing you can apply the knowledge practically.
Makes sense.
Did you ever catch a discrepancy in a contract that would have blown the budget? Or had to negotiate a tricky clause? Those are the stories that make you stand out.
Okay. Yeah. Real-world examples always land better.
Always.
It's like you're proving you can walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Exactly.
Speaking of walking the walk, let's talk quality. Because it's not just about the cheapest option, right?
Right. Quality over everything.
Question 6 gets at that. How do you ensure project quality is maintained throughout the construction process?
Such a good question.
What does that even look like in action?
I think it's about going beyond just the numbers and seeing how quality impacts every stage of the project, even the budget.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever catch a problem with materials early on? Before it became a huge, costly mess later.
Oh, totally. Prevention is key.
Exactly. Or maybe you set up a system for talking to subcontractors.
Yeah, to keep everyone on the same page.
Exactly. Because if everyone's aligned on quality standards from the start, so much smoother.
Like a well-oiled machine.
There you go.
And the career guide really emphasizes that whole collaboration thing.
Huge part of the job.
Which leads perfectly into question 7. Can you describe your experience with cost estimating and scheduling? Because those two seem pretty intertwined, wouldn't you say?
Oh, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Can't have one without the other. So when you answer this, think about your experience with the software.
Right, because there's always software.
Always. Have you ever had to like really get into the weeds and create a super detailed cost breakdown?
Right.
For a mega project? factoring in everything, labor, materials, permits, you name it.
Showing them you could break it all down.
Exactly, every single element.
Wow. And then scheduling it, that's a whole other beast.
Oh yeah, especially with multiple teams, different deadlines.
So many moving parts.
So think back. Did you use your scheduling prowess to prevent a major bottleneck?
Ooh, I like that prowess.
Uh-huh. Or did you spot a potential clash in the schedule early on? That saved everyone time and headaches.
Ugh. Saving headaches is like the name of the game in construction, I feel like.
Right. No one wants those delays and budget blowouts.
Exactly. Speaking of which, the guide also mentions risk management a lot.
Super important.
And question 8 is all about it. Can you explain your experience with risk management and mitigation? This feels like another one where examples are crucial.
Totally. Because construction is full of what ifs,
Oh yeah, what could go wrong usually does.
Exactly. So think of a time you spotted a risk early on, maybe a weather delay, a material shortage, even a safety issue.
Oh yeah, safety is huge.
Huge. How did you figure out how much it would impact the project? And then what steps did you take to, minimize that risk?
It's like you have to be part fortune teller, part strategist.
Right. You're always thinking 10 steps ahead.
Which reminds me of how RoleCatcher's AI can give you feedback on these exact situations.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It's like having a risk assessment expert in your pocket. You can practice your answers,
Wow.
and it analyzes them and tells you if you need to beef up your risk management game.
That's seriously cool.
Okay, so question 9 gets right to the heart of it.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that projects are completed on time and within budget? That's the million-dollar question right there.
The Holy Grail.
Right.
That's what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
And it takes everything we've talked about, meticulous planning, cost control communication, risk management, the whole shebang.
It's like you're conducting an orchestra, making sure all the instruments are playing in sync.
Love that analogy. You got to be aware of every section, every player.
To create that masterpiece.
Exactly. So when you answer this, talk about the tools you use, how you track progress, how you spot those potential roadblocks, and most importantly, what you do to get things back on track if they start to veer off course.
It's like you're the captain steering the ship.
I like it. Keeping everyone and everything afloat.
Which brings us to the final question from the guide. Can you describe a time when you had to resolve a conflict or disagreement on a project? Because, let's face it, conflict is inevitable.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
Especially in construction where there are so many moving parts. The strong opinions.
Definitely. And this question is all about those people skills, Can you stay calm under pressure? Can you find a solution that works for everyone?
So what makes for a really strong answer here?
Choose a situation that shows you can listen and understand different perspectives.
Right, yeah, not just bulldoze your way through.
Exactly. Maybe there was a clash over materials or a scheduling nightmare. How did you approach it? Did you bring everyone together, find a compromise?
You're like a mediator, a peacemaker.
In a way, but it's not about taking sides. It's about finding that win-win solution.
Where the project can keep moving forward.
Yes. And you maintain those positive relationships.
Because at the end of the day, everyone's on the same team.
Exactly. Working towards that common goal.
Love it. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive on interview questions, can we circle back to RoleCatcher's AI? Because I feel like we've been dancing around its awesomeness this whole time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it does sound pretty cool. Fill me in.
So imagine this, you're prepping for this interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
And RoleCatcher is analyzing the job description.
Okay.
It's picking out those key skills they're looking for, and then it gives you feedback on your answers to make sure you're highlighting those exact qualities.
Wow, that's next level.
Right.
It's like having a personalized cheat sheet.
Totally. But like an ethical cheat sheet.
Uh-huh. Right?
It's all about putting your best foot forward.
I'm sold. Sign me up.
And the best part is, it can even tailor your CV
No way.
to highlight the skills they want to see.
Okay, that's genius. No more generic resumes.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Love it. Count me in.
It's like leveling up your whole job search strategy.
Right. Why haven't I heard of this before?
I know, right? Okay, but back to the matter at hand.
Of course.
This whole deep dive into quantity surveying has been eye-opening.
It really is a fascinating field.
It's so much more than I even realized. Like the level of detail, the strategic thinking.
And the people skills. We can't forget about those.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like this perfect storm of hard skills and soft skills.
You got to have them both.
You really do. So to wrap things up, for anyone listening who's about to dive headfirst into those interview waters,
Good luck.
remember you got this.
Yeah.
Think back on those projects.
Those war stories.
Exactly. What were those moments where you really shone? What did you learn from those tough calls you had to make?
And don't be afraid to geek out a little bit about what excites you about this field.
Yes, passion is contagious.
It really is.
And when you're genuinely excited about something, it shows. And hey, if you need that extra boost of
It
confidence,
does.
RoleCatcher's got your back.
For sure. I'm telling everyone I know about it.
Spread the word. Okay, so as a final thought to leave you with, we've talked about so many aspects of this career path, but if you had to pick just one to really specialize in, what would it be and why? Or really get your gears turning within the world of quantity surveying? Let us know. And until next time, happy building.